All right. What's going on, Black Speakers Network family? Brian O's coming at you, and I am super excited to kick off another Black Speakers Network Speaker Spotlight interview series. And so, if you're not familiar, this is our opportunity to introduce you to some dynamic, intelligent experts across multiple industries right here in the Black Speakers Network community. And so, whether you're part of BSN or you're just joining us for the first time, I want to welcome you. And guess what? This is a great chance for you to actually be able to connect with thought leaders who you may need for your next speaking event, whether that's a conference, seminar, workshop, virtual event, hybrid event. We got some incredible folks who will absolutely light up a podcast and everything in between. And so I'm super excited that you are here. And I don't want to waste a bunch of time. Again, these are going to be 5-minute rapid fire interviews where you'll just be able to get a little bit of insight into who these individuals are, what their area of expertise is, and guess what? If you want to connect with them, if you want to learn more, if you want to follow them on social media, or if you want to reach out to them and book them for future speaking opportunities, you can do that right on our website at blackspeakersnetwork.com. /speaker directory is where you can find everyone that you want to connect with. And if you are a current or aspiring speaker out there and you would like to be interviewed, I would love to do that. We are getting to as many speakers as possible within our Black Speakers Network Premium Member Program. Every speaker that you're going to hear from today is a BSN Premium member. And so if you're interested in joining and being a part of programs like this, make sure you head over to blackspeakersnetwork.com /join, learn more about Black Speakers Network Premium membership, and I invite you to come on and join us. But that out the way, I want to go ahead and introduce you to our very first speaker, because we believe in jumping right into it. We don't believe in wasting a lot of time here. And so this next speaker is from our very own backyard. I'm here just right outside of Baltimore, Maryland. Our next speaker is right here in Bowie, Maryland, and that is Mr. Eric Collier. And Eric, thank you so much for being here. I want to welcome you to BSN Speaker Spotlight. And if you don't mind, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, thank you, Brian. I appreciate the opportunity, and I love what you're doing with the speaking community for the Black Speakers Network. I'm from Danville, Illinois. I live in Bowie, Maryland, and I'm a performance improvement specialist. And my focus is on the mindset, getting you out of that, what I call mental quicksand, to help you move forward so you can start accomplishing your goals. My background is all military. I've been an Army and a Navy veteran. I'm also an athlete, former athlete and coach, and I also mentor and coach high school students as well as career professionals. And it's all about helping you get out of that stuck situation where you can't believe or can't move forward.
Absolutely. Good stuff, man. So I'm just super curious. I've tons of questions for you, but I'll start with a basic one.
Right.
Just how did you get started on this journey? I know that right away, thank you for serving our country in both the Army and Navy. Very, very impressive. But can you give us some insight on how you got started on this journey and got you where you are today?
Well, imagine being 30 years old, thinking that you're doing the right thing, and then somebody brings to your attention that what you're doing is never going to get you where you want to belong. And so what I had to do was I had to go inside and start connecting with me to figure out what was holding me back. And what was holding me back was me, what I was telling myself. What you tell yourself, what you sell yourself. And once you start consuming that enough, you believe it, and you start to find yourself not moving forward anymore. So I had to change some things. And once I did that, my life started to change to get me to where I am right now. But it wasn't overnight. It wasn't something that happened like what I call microwavable. It was something that took many years. In fact, I was so deep into that mental quicksand that I had a mentor, the person that I wanted to teach me what I wanted to learn. And he told me he could help me. And I said, nah, no way. So that's how bad we can get. And we can find ourselves just missing out on our opportunities to better ourselves, to help others, and just to be able to create a better life for ourselves.
Absolutely. You said what you tell yourself is what you sell yourself, man. Somebody needs to tweet that immediately and make sure that gets out there. That is awesome. I want to dive into this concept of mental quicksand. You mentioned it before, but that's a unique concept. And so I definitely want to give you an opportunity to expand on that. Can you tell us or give us some examples of what that actually is and how do people know that they may find themselves in a mental quicksand situation?
Well, just imagine something happens, you're experiencing failure after failure, and you're defeated. And you're telling yourself, you can't do this, you're not any good, you're not going to be able to come out of it. And you start to spiral down this hole of negativity. And you're creating these scenarios over and over again, day after day, that just keep you stuck and you don't move forward. I used to tell myself all the time, I'm not a writer, I'm not a speaker, I'm not this, I'm not that. And I was right. I wasn't, because I wasn't trying to be anything other than what I thought I was, which was an athlete. And so after my dream of becoming a Major League Baseball player died, I had to start finding out what I had inside of me. And then, the funny thing about it, when you start tapping into you, opportunities start coming your way, and you become that person that you once told yourself you wasn't. I had opportunities to become an instructor, opportunities to write, and now here I was working with the mentor that I always wanted to work with, and now here I am today, speaking on international platforms, international best-selling co-author, and just helping coaching and mentoring high school students as well as career professionals. So where I was at 30 is totally, definitely different where I am right now.
Absolutely, that sense of progression, and I think that's really what performance improvement is all about. But definitely a very, I would say, intentional process that you're leading people through. I know one of the quotes that you have. I think this is original, like Eric Collier quote says, "I just keep pushing because no one will do it for me." If that's your mantra, can you just expand on that like a little bit and maybe give us some insight into like where that mantra, that philosophy originated from as you have been working with your clients?
It, it started a long time ago. I didn't even know I was doing it, but growing up in a single family home, I know my dad was around. I lived with my mom and I watched her in her resiliency just basically raise 3 children. And what I learned was we had to adapt, adjust, and keep moving forward. We didn't have time for whining and complaining. We had to adapt, adjust, and keep moving. But at one point I lost that. And at 30, I was reminded that if I don't get out and do what I want to do, if I don't get out and become the person that I want to become and do those things that I want to do, nobody else is going to help me change. Nobody else is going to put me in the situations and the opportunities that I want to be in unless I get out and do it. So when I get up in the morning at 2:30, put my feet on the ground, it's all up to me. I don't care how many motivational speakers I listen to, how many songs I listen to, it's up to me. And so nobody's going to knock on the door and give me anything. I have to get up and go do that. I have to put the work in day and day out, read. I have to hone my craft. I have to do all of these different things because if I want it to be, it's got to be up to me.
I hear that. Now that 2:30 a.m., that's a real wake up time. Is that a leftover, a relic from the military?
No, sir. That's a real wake up time. I started that. I worked 2 jobs for 12 years, and I needed to find an opportunity to hone my craft, to be able to do those things that I wanted to do, create the business that I'm working right now as a speaker. And so the only way I could do that is get up at 2:30 in the morning, and that was my me time. That's connecting with me, focusing on what I need to do. And at 2:30 in the morning from until 4:30, that's what I did. And I would go to work. I'd come home 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, and I just start working again, get in that family time that I needed to get in, and then focus on my business before I went to bed. And then I just repeat it. Sometimes that included going to the gym as well. So that's what I do.
That's powerful. I feel like that always gives you like the psychological edge on really the rest of the world being up that early, knowing that everybody else isn't waking up for at least like 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
The question I'll leave you with, Eric, as we wrap up, what is it that you want to be remembered for? I always end with this question. We're talking about legacy. So what do you want to be remembered for?
Well, the way I see it, if you remember me 50, 60 years down the line, I want you to remember that he was somebody who committed his life to service, who was about caring and protecting those so that they could take their lives to a different level. And that's what I'm about. All I want to do is help people all the time. That's why I got the nickname the Mayor. People see me talking to people simply because I want to learn and see how I can help you and help put you in situations to move forward. And that's all I'm about.
I love it. And it seems like you're well on your way to doing that. Listen, if you want to connect with Mr. Eric Collier, aka the mayor, the performance improvement expert, if you need to bring one into your organization, make sure you head on over to blackspeakersnetwork.com, blackspeakersnetwork.com. Our speakers directory is there. You can find Eric on there and connect with him on his website, send him a message, get an idea of the programs that he offers, and I'm sure he will be able to help you move forward, both personally and for individuals. And so, Eric, thank you so much for sharing with us. And of course, thanks for being a part of the Black Speakers Network community, and keep up the incredible work.
Thank you. Hey, just keep pushing.
Keep pushing. I love it. Talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, so there you have it, folks. We are well on our way, kicking off the BSN Speaker Spotlight series. If you're just joining us, remember these are 5-minute interviews, rapid fire. And, as you can see, you can learn a lot in 5 minutes. And actually, I'm hoping that you are also not just learning, but picking up insight. If you're a speaker, listening and paying attention to how speakers are able to actually articulate that message, how they introduce themselves. There are so many nuggets here. So whether you're a meeting planner looking for a speaker or you're an aspiring speaker, you can walk away with something other than, just learning and meeting new people, which is great too. But speaking of meeting new people, it is time to meet our second person. We are going all the way out to San Francisco, California. We got soon to be Dr. Karwanna D in the building, and she is a government contract specialist. Karwanna, I want to say welcome to BSN Speaker Spotlight, and please let the people know a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me, Brian. I think this is a super amazing network that you have. I am Karwanna D, government contract strategist, and I actually teach high-performing entrepreneurs how to make millions pitching and winning government contracts, specifically Black and brown business owners and women in business. And over the years, what I've learned is that the government definitely spends multiple trillions of dollars per year. And of that, there's upwards of 26% that's specifically earmarked for Black and brown business owners, as well as for women-owned businesses and those who are in a position of disadvantage. And basically, what I do is I show you exactly how to go after that money that's specifically set aside for you, and that's what I do.
Look, you didn't say millions. I didn't hear you say billions. You said
trillions. Yes.
So this is important. I hope we got some people's attention.
Yeah.
Now, let me dive a little bit into your background really quickly, because I know you've been kind of a serial entrepreneur. I know you built two, pretty successful businesses prior to what you're doing now. So can you just give us some insight into how you got started on this journey?
Yeah, so years ago, actually, I started my first business a little over 15 to 17 years ago. And I was really just looking for a way to be able to stay home with my kids and not have to worry about missing out on the first moments, the first steps, and the first words of their lives by, working for, of course, a traditional 9 to 5. And so during the journey in entrepreneurship, of course, I made a lot of mistakes, and I actually tried to build business the traditional way that we all learn, which is number one, that it's going to take 2 to 5 years to grow a business. You need startup capital. You need to do this, and do that. So I did those things and still ended up broke, still ended up struggling. And I really needed to find a way to build that business the right way, to not have to worry about whether or not I'm going to have to go back to a traditional 9 to 5. Hence, I discovered what I coined the $1 trillion secret to government contracts, which actually flipped and transformed the way that I even viewed business for me. And it turned out that you don't have to wait 2 to 5 years to be successful in business. Actually, you can be highly profitable. And we're talking about making millions of dollars within your first 6 to 12 months in business if you're doing business with the right player. And that is the U.S. government. So after learning that, for my own business, I actually created a second company which is a consulting firm, teaching other entrepreneurs exactly how I did it and exactly how they can do it too. And they're getting actually, landing their first $250,000 contracts, first $1 million contracts, and all those different things by leveraging the laws that govern small businesses and how the government is obligated to pay small businesses for their services.
Wow, this is I have like 80 more questions for you, but I'm gonna try to consolidate these down
Yeah.
in a way that's consumable. But obviously, this is a deep area. So my next question is around so working with the government, right? I think when people just hear that, there's probably a series of either misconceptions or ideas around what that process probably looks like. What do you feel like entrepreneurs typically get wrong, or some of those common misconceptions about what it actually is like about working with, the federal government?
Absolutely. So one of the biggest misconceptions is most entrepreneurs don't even think that the government will buy what they're selling. When you think government contracts, number one, you're thinking, Air Force, military, Navy, and all those things. And those things may be true as well. But literally, what I like to share is like, is the eye-opening part that the government buys everything. In fact, if you actually just do an assessment of what's in front of you right now, whether like this microphone that's in front of me, the lights that are, that's shining on me, the shirt that I'm wearing, the accessories, the government buys all of that. In fact, when I think about the government, really what I had to learn that made it easier, for me to kind of grasp the concept that the government buys everything is like, well, the government agencies are full of people, right? And those people consume everything from services to products, which includes food and cleaning, which also includes like hair prosthetics as well. In fact, I have clients that are selling prosthetic wigs, clients that are selling notary services, clients that are selling PowerPoint services. And so there is a litmus test that I like to encourage people to at least ask themselves. And that is, who's buying my stuff? And if somebody is buying it, then guess what? The government will buy it as well. And so, yeah, so that literally opens the door to everything. It leaves no stone unturned.
Perfectly said. Now, there are people already in the comments asking how to get in contact with you. So I'll just put this here now. BlackSpeakersNetwork.com. This is for all the speakers that we're talking to, but Karwanna is there. If you type her name into the Black Speakers Network directory, blackspeakersnetwork.com/speaker-directory, or you just click speaker directory, you'll find her. And she's the only Karwanna. So very easy. And then all of her information is there. You can go to her website and connect with her directly. Now, my last question, or second to last question, one, now that you also have founded She Got Goals Academy. So I want to talk a little bit about that in case, we know what you can do for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But can you tell us a little bit about the academy? Because I think, first of all, I like the name. She Got Goals. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and who that's meant for?
Yeah. So initially, She's Got Goals was actually designed to empower and educate women in business in particular on showing them on how to start a business and how to become very profitable in your business by selling to the government. Now we also serve men because, of course, he's got goals too. And, I found that a lot of men were like, well, what about us? Like, we want to learn how to do this stuff too. And there are contracts for men. Men fall into the small business or minority business area as well. And so now we serve everyone. But She's Got Goals Academy just makes it easier. Like we have a system and a blueprint to show people how to get started and get results much faster than trying to figure it out on their own. Now, a lot of times people are trying to start or figure out government contracting. It may take them 3 to 5 years or even longer before they even get to step one, right? But what we've done is we've compressed all of the success steps in order that people will have to take in order for them to be able to get faster results. And with this proven system, we have clients that are landing contracts within their first 5 to 6 weeks, within the first 3 to 6 months on average. And we're not talking about pennies. We're talking about life-changing transformation, which is the most reason why I'm so passionate about educating business owners, because not only can this help you do things like buy the black back, right? Which is like one of our biggest concerns is like gentrification, but it'll also allow us to be philanthropists and all of those amazing things that we want to do, create generational wealth and more.
This is such an exciting area that we're definitely going to have to dive deeper into, Karwanna. But to me, it kind of blows my mind because sometimes we could feel like, we're operating in scarcity. And this really kind of just speaks to the notion of like knowledge is power, but, only applied knowledge and, where to get it. And so This is definitely one of those areas. But as we wrap up, I want to make sure that people know, what is your legacy? Like, what do you want people to remember about the incredible work that you're doing?
So I coined my knowledge about government contracting as the $1 trillion secret, right? I want to be known as the person that revealed and shared the secret to every entrepreneur who truly wanted to leverage their business as a wealth building generation, a vehicle to generate generational wealth. So that's what I want to be known as, the person that just, let the whistle out of the bag, per se, because so many people have this type of success and they want to keep the information to themselves. Like, I want people to know, I want you to be empowered, to be educated, and I want to be left known for the impact that I'm creating globally in Black and brown businesses.
Perfectly said. Listen, the cat is out of the bag. You heard it here on Black Speakers Network. It's $1 trillion out there, so y'all better go get it. But listen, Karwanna, Dr. Karwanna, this has been eye-opening, enlightening. Thank you so much for sharing. And again, if you want to connect, make sure you head on over to blackspeakersnetwork.com, click on speaker directory, and go find Karwanna and make sure that you get connected to these $1 trillion that are out here. But Karwanna, thank you so much. And thanks for, again, being part of the Black Speakers Network community as well. Keep up the amazing work. You are welcome. All right, man. Federal contracts. Listen, y'all better not sleep. This is cool. And hopefully by now, if this is your first time, listening, we've heard from 2 speakers so far. We have 2 more to hear from in this session. This is the heart of what we do. When I first started Black Speakers Network, I didn't want to be pigeonholed to just like one industry. And of course, I feel like I can learn a little bit something from everybody. We learn about business, we learn about technology, we learn about healthcare, there's mental health, there's all sorts of things. And so we have so much power in our community. And I just really want to make sure that we have the platform and the network to connect. But nothing happens until you take action. And so we really just want to make sure that, if something strikes you, if you hear a speaker, perhaps maybe you're listening to somebody and you're not the person, but you know somebody that speaker needs to connect to, take a second, click the share button, click the, take this link from YouTube and put it out and to somebody's email box that may need it, because you never know who you would end up impacting as well. So speaking of impact, we got a lot of doctors in the bill. I don't know if you realize that we have a lot of doctors. And so I'm excited to bring up, our next speaker, who is also a doctor right out of North Canton, Ohio. And that is Dr. LaTrice is in the building. So thank you so much for being here, Dr. LaTrice. If you don't mind, tell the people a little bit about who you are and what you do.
All right. Thanks for having me, first of all. So I'm a published author, a speaker, a transformational coach, a healthcare executive, but most importantly, I am my mission. And my mission is, I believe, if you look around the world, you see Black and brown people dying because of inequitable care. I believe that we can radically change the communities of our Black and brown individuals. And my passion is helping teams and individuals realize that equity in health and healthcare is attainable. And for me, even though I'm a healthcare executive, this is personal because I've been there.
Absolutely. So there's a lot to dive in there. I do want to find out a little bit more about your journey. Like, how did you get to this place where you, because healthcare is, without access to it, equitable access, which we're going to talk a lot about, in the next few minutes, things start to fall apart as society. But, I feel like that's a really niche area to get into. So I'm really curious about, what was your journey, the progression to get to this point?
So I grew up in a housing project. My family, we were on public assistance. I had my son young. And so then I was in the system, not being treated appropriately and, not realizing or having the words for how they were looking at me, not listening to my concerns, kind of brushing me off. So fast forward about 15, 20 years, I began working in healthcare, and I watched day after day as we delivered transactional care. People, when they leave the doctor's office, they have to go back home to their communities where they're fighting poverty, homelessness, all of these issues that we're not dealing with in the healthcare arena, but we have to marry community with health care delivery in order to truly have impactful, transformational change. It is my goal and my life's mission to assist in moving the delivery of healthcare from transactional to transformational, because at the end of the day, it's life or death. We're dying because of inequitable healthcare. So I came up, I grew in this space where I was that marginalized population that just was being pushed through the system. And now with infant mortality and the impacts of COVID, seeing just how our community is crumbling, it's just, this has just become my life's mission. If I didn't have bills and had to pay for lights and housing and food and stuff, I do this work for free.
Yeah, no, I could really sense the passion and the fact that this is a ministry. So many things I want to ask you. I guess, who would you consider your target audience? Because I really feel like the question or the concept around creating equitable access to healthcare isn't something that, one organization, could solve by itself. It seems that, you have to bring multiple partners to the table, including, as you mentioned, community. So, the everyday people, to healthcare providers, pharmaceutical companies, to, governments. And so from your perspective, who do you decide who to talk to? Like, who are the people that you are trying to bring to the table in order to have this conversation and actually to start to create policy and transformation to achieve, this goal?
Right. So for the downstream work, which is the individuals that are receiving the care. So my audience is the consumer, the individuals, the Black and brown community, because we have to have skin in the game. We have to be equipped and ready with the appropriate questions and actions when we go in and receive this healthcare. And then also anyone that is considered a gatekeeper. And for me, gatekeepers are anyone that has a say in the delivery of services, resources, care, information. So nonprofit organizations, hospitals, community faith leaders, because it truly takes a village to create the type of change that I'm trying to create. So I work with nonprofits, I work with hospitals, and I work with individual community members, because it's going to take all of us.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know oftentimes it's almost like a balance, because on one hand, I'm like, if I'm experiencing a symptom of something, I resist the temptation to, jump onto like WebMD and try to self-diagnose and figure out what's going on. But at the same time, I want to be an educated and informed, consumer of healthcare in order to, improve my own patient experience. But I do think a lot of times there is, we're just kind of out there. Like, we don't know what questions to ask. We don't know how to navigate the system. There are layers of complexity, particularly when you add in like insurance and all these other things. And so, the more that we can empower individual patients to, not be afraid to ask questions and to, self-advocate for themselves and our family members, I think the better. So just on a personal note, I'm really, really happy that I don't know anybody else, I think, doing the work that you do in this space. So I'm happy that you are doing that. I do want to ask a question about kind of what is the end goal in your mind? So like, how will we know that we have actually achieved like a standard of equitable care that kind of matches up to like the vision that you have in mind?
Right. So some of the work is in the data. So when you think about infant mortality, Black babies are dying 3 to 1, right? So it's right there in the data. You have chronic disease management. When you look at COVID, the percentages for Black and brown people was far greater than non-minorities. So it's in the data as well. But you know what? A lot of this work is truly qualitative, because it's about your lived experience, your perception. So, I really don't know. I really don't have a litmus test for it right now. But when I speak with individuals after I work with them, the difference in how they feel, the level of anxiety, the level of being heard, the empowerment that I give them with arming them with questions to ask. So just when I talk with individuals and there is a difference in how their doctor and their team is showing up for them, when they have those educated, insightful questions that they're asking of their physician. So just in the lived experiences of community, and then looking at data. So looking at the cancer rates, Black women, and the rates that we have cancer, but that we die from it is so much higher. So data is out there that we can truly measure health outcomes to see if we are closing that equity gap between those outcomes of disease states and community members.
Perfectly said. And I know that your organization, actually called Equity House, if I'm not mistaken, is responsible for actually curating and managing those programs. And so when you all visit Black Speakers Network, click on directory, make sure, when you look up Dr. LaTrice, you can find out more information about the incredible, where it's impossible to synopsize into like 5 minutes, but really, really important work. And so I'll leave you with the last question. I think you kind of touched on a little bit throughout the course, but if there's anything else to add about, just the legacy, that you're looking to leave doing this work, feel free to share.
Yeah, absolutely. The legacy I want to leave is that I was a catalyst for changing the implications for people who are caught in the crossfires of inequitable care. So just that catalyst for change, that person who has helped move things into transformation, because right now it is so transactional. So that is the legacy that, I want to leave for myself, that I've been able to cultivate change in the lives of our most vulnerable, our most marginalized populations and communities, to create healthy people living in healthy communities.
Yeah, I think that is super important. And Black Speakers Network, I think we have an important opportunity to use platforms like this to continue to share, educate, and let people know, what the options are, and just to be a channel of hopefully, bringing that vision to life, Dr. LaTrice. And so thank you so much again for sharing. Again, if you all want to connect with Dr. LaTrice, if you know people that should be connecting with her, if you're a healthcare, if you're anywhere within that ecosystem of people and community that she mentioned, make sure that you either directly connect with her, or again, share this video so that she can get connected to the folks that can continue to make this thing happen. But Dr. LaTrice, thank you so much. And of course, thank you for being a part of the Black Speakers Network community.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. And so we are almost at the tail end. Guess what, guys? Some people are coming in late and they're like, hey, what is going on? Like, I'm hearing good stuff, but I don't even know what I'm watching. Again, this is the Black Speakers Network. BlackSpeakersNetwork.com is where you can find out more information about us. Black Speakers Network, we are a global community focused on equipping, connecting, and inspiring the next generation of Black professional speakers. And so you're just getting a sample of who some of these individuals are. We have hundreds of speakers across multiple areas of expertise. And so we created the Speaker Spotlight series to give you an opportunity to be able to hear from them directly and learn more information about who they are and what they do. And so that's what you're watching, in case you're jumping in late. But we got one more speaker left, and I'm going right back to the West Coast. I'm super excited to talk to her because she's talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is high performance coaching. But we have Eva here from Berkeley, California, I believe. And so, Eva, thank you so much again for joining us. And if you don't mind, please tell the people a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you for having me, Brian. I'm so excited for this opportunity and for the work you do in Black Speakers Network. So appreciative and so honored to be a part of this. So basically, I am a certified high performance coach. I am a #1 best-selling author, and I am a radio talk show host and a crazy dog mom. So that's what I am up to today. And, I love moving people from high achieving to high performance. So as a high performance coach, what I love to do is help you to be able to advance your career without sacrificing your health, your well-being, your relationships in the process. Because listen, there's no point in working yourself to death if you're not going to have the health, the joy, the vibrancy, and the people in your life to be working for.
Powerful. Yeah. We need to just take that sound bite when we get the recording of this and just put that on repeat. That needs to be a notable quotable, because I can imagine how many people find themselves in these situations. So I want to talk about that. But before we do, Eve, I would love to dive into your background because I believe you kind of had one of your starts in real estate. And so you were building like a real estate investment business. So can you tell us how that venture kind of led you up to this point of being a high performance coach, making sure that, folks are, have the capacity to live their life on their own terms?
Absolutely. Back in my day, there was a commercial, this perfume commercial for Anjali, and they had this woman come out in 3 different outfits. She was in a business suit, and then she had a frying pan, and then she was in a ball gown. And the lyrics went like, I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and never let you forget you're a man, because I'm a woman, Anjali. It was the 8-hour perfume for the 24-hour woman. So basically, you can work yourself to death 24 hours a day, but at least you'll smell good as you work yourself to death. And that's where I found myself in real estate. I was still working my day job as a dental hygienist while I was building my real estate investment business. And what I noticed was I was working all the time because I had these big dreams and goals to create generational wealth, a legacy for my family. And I was exhausted. I was doing everything. I was doing all the cooking, all the laundry, all the shopping. And I realized my family was getting what was left over of me. So I did not know how to achieve success in one area of my life without sacrificing in another area of my life. And my wake-up call came the day I discovered that my husband was having an affair. And I knew in that moment that I had to own my part in that I had to take responsibility for the breakdown in my marriage. And I knew that I was in danger of losing it all if I didn't move from exhaustion, burnout, overwhelm, which comes with crankiness and moodiness and poor health. I'm sure we've all experienced that at one point. And I knew I had to do something. And that's when I discovered high performance living, that I could create a situation that was both and, not either or, and that I had to really get clear on what matters most to me and make my decisions based on my priorities and values. And that's how I still have the real estate business. Don't get me wrong, but we exhaust ourselves trying to have that work-life balance, and balance is not equal.
Yeah. First of all, a powerful story. And I'm glad you took a moment to share that with us. And, sometimes you hit those, moments in life and it just kind of wake you up and you don't have a choice but to go in another direction. But the fact that you're able to pivot that and now work with other people and kind of hopefully not go through probably some pain, but not as much pain that you necessarily had to go through in order to, be able to change things around. I want to get into this concept of high achieving and high performance, because that's what you're working with. That's how you describe people. Can you give us kind of the archetype? Like, how would I know if I'm talking to someone, Eva, that needs to be talking to you? Like, strike up a conversation. Like, who are these people that you are out here trying to serve?
When you connect with a friend or an associate or a business partner and you ask, so how are you? How are things going? And they say, good, but I'm really busy. I'm really, really busy. And, those people are the ones whose partners in life are complaining that they're too busy to spend time with them, or that they're always exhausted, that they're not taking care of their health. I'd love to eat healthy, but I just don't have the time. I'd love to work out, that I just don't have the time. These high achievers do not have the time to prioritize their health, to prioritize their mental and emotional energy, to prioritize their well-being, and to prioritize the people that are important to their lives, because they're working so hard trying to be it all and do it all so that they can have it all. And so the flag for me is good, but really, really busy. And busy is not necessarily productive.
Yeah, it's weird. Some people wear busy like it's almost like a badge of honor. Like, I'm so accessible. I can't do that. And at the end of the day, at the end of life, that's not really the goal. And I do agree with you. The whole concept of work-life balance is almost like a misnomer because, balance assumes an equal distribution of weight on two sides. And when is life ever like equally distributed anytime? And so I'm so glad that you're doing this work. What is like a misconception? And so, like, as you're working with people, because I do believe that success is addictive. Like, there's a reason why, being in a capitalistic society like, America, we are rewarded for hard work. And, people are, there's a notion of, there's entire, sleep when you're dead culture that has kind of like cropped up. So what's your first step in terms of working with people to kind of get them like out of that mentality of, hey, if I, start prioritizing my mental health, or if I start, trying to balance things out, like that's maybe, I imagine some people would just kind of have a certain amount of fear that, I don't want my lifestyle to dip, or I got a mortgage to pay, or, I got boats to buy, or whatever people are doing. So, how do you get people over that initial like fear?
Well, first of all, I get them out of the concept that balance means equal, because when you look at a scale that's perfectly balanced, the number on the scale will actually read 0. And that's what happens when you try to achieve that perfect balance between your work life and your personal life. So that's the first thing we do, because balance is going to look like this. There are times when you need to work on this project or this launch or whatever you got going on. And there are times when your family will get most of the attention, or your personal life, whatever that looks like. And so I do what I call my CPR to jumpstart your high performance. And that's being clear, prioritize, and take responsibility for creating and setting boundaries. So you've got to be clear on what you want, what makes you happy, and ask yourself, does the vision that I have for my life match my reality today? And there are important questions to ask yourself when seeking clarity. And then you've got to prioritize, because studies show when you are not clear on your priorities, you are actually up to 30 times more likely to miss out on success. So you've got to be clear on what to prioritize in your life. And when you're clear on those priorities, decision-making comes easy. So you get to ask yourself, because I'm a victim of shiny object syndrome all the time. Is this action or decision that I'm about to make going to bring me closer to my priorities, or pull me away and act as a distraction or a competing interest?
Wow.
And then thirdly, you got to own the responsibility of creating and setting boundaries, because without boundaries, you don't know safety. So you got to create it, set it, and here's the kicker, guys: communicate it. We don't assume that because the boundary's in your head that people know what it is. So make sure people know your boundaries so that they can help you hold those boundaries and help you support them.
Yeah, I love that model. You break it down in such an easy, digestible way. But I'm sure one of the tenets of being a high performance coach is like, it's one thing to kind of know something logically, but then to actually get people practically implementing it into their life and their business, their systems, their family is another thing. And so I am so excited that you're here, Eva. Can you, in the few seconds we have left, let's talk about legacy. I always end with this question. As you know, what do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for having an impact. One of the things that we do in high performance that I also do in my diversity and inclusion work is really creating powerful tools for communication and having the language, if you will, that creates inclusive environments, and that works at home, at work, and in your community. And I want to be known for teaching people to have a framework for inclusive listening, so that we can have a better understanding and learn what powerful questions to ask to move people forward in their goals, their vision, goals, values, and priorities. So that's the type of impact I want to have on people's lives.
Listen, a place like Black Speakers Network, this is a great time to be talking about inclusive listening, not just speaking, because inclusive listening. And I think that is a healthy practice to lead with. So, Eva, I just want to thank you for sharing so many nuggets of wisdom. I'm sure there are so many people out there. I'm looking at the comments of folks that are watching live, and I'm sure people are watching the replay as well that are interested in getting connected with you. I just want to remind you, you can go to blackspeakersnetwork.com, click on directory, and you can absolutely find Eva. I do think that there are too many people who realize, one, life is not a dress rehearsal. And so, we spend all our time, chasing shiny objects, as you say, and we look back and you may have, some financial success, but at what cost? And so if there's an opportunity to write that, if that is you, then I want to encourage you to reach out to Eva if that's what you're looking to create for your organizations. And I know you do diversity, equity, inclusion work as well. Make sure you make that call and share Eva's information. But Eva, thank you so much. And also thank you for being a part of the Black Speakers Network community out in Berkeley, California. I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to continuing to partner with you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so guys, we are done. That is our next our BSN Speaker Spotlight interview series. And so if you are interested, I know we have a number of people trying to figure out, like, how do I actually get interviewed? And I got to tell you, it is pretty easy. We are going down the list of our BSN premium members. BSN Premium is our program that we have within Black Speakers Network. It is currently $35 a month. Or $350 a year. And essentially it provides you access to speaker training. So if you're wondering, like, man, like, what do I even do? Like, how do I get on more stages? How do I set my prices? How do I actually create a speaker business? That's what we are here for. We also provide resources. And so if you're someone who is not necessarily tech savvy or somebody that maybe needs help getting their speaker website up and creating the materials, your proposals, contracts, things of that nature, we got all that covered. And then third, we provide opportunities, just like you saw here today. Every single day, weekday anyway, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we send out what we call speaker opportunity alerts. And so these are active calls for speakers, not people that need, maybe speakers next year. Like, these are organizations that have a need for speakers right now. We give you the name, the location, the date, the deadline, and the link to actually apply, and you could go and apply to the ones that are relevant to you. We also are very passionate about making sure that our speakers are connected onto podcasts. If you're not familiar, podcasts are exploding. And so there's no excuse, there's no reason why, if you're a speaker, you shouldn't be speaking on more podcasts. We actually have a podcast power match session the first Thursday of every single month, where we bring on podcast hosts, and they talk directly to our members about the types of speakers that they are looking for their programs. And of course, we have the speaker spotlight that's here as well. And so if you are a current or aspiring speaker and you're just looking to get on more stages, Black Speakers Network is certainly the place for you. So I'm going to recommend that you head on over to blackspeakersnetwork.com/join. And I invite you to be a part of the community, and we would look forward to having you join us. When you do join, one thing I just want to make sure that you have in your mind is that you're going to get a link to complete your speaker's profile. Once you complete your speaker's profile, that is how we're going to add you to the speakers directory that we've been talking about throughout the course of the day. So you can't just join, you have to actually get onto the directory. Why? Because that's the way we're going to be able to interview you here. And so it all ties together. So hopefully this has been powerful, educational, insightful, and hopefully you now know some of our members across the community a little bit better. And if you're looking to learn a little bit more about Black Speakers Network, here's a short video to help you learn. And we will see you next time. As we say in Black Speakers Network, keep speaking up. Your audience awaits. Being at a HBCU like Morgan State University, I saw firsthand the talent, the expertise, the creativity that we bring to the table when it comes to this world of public speaking.
Black Speakers Network is a space where I can interact and engage with my tribe. with Black speakers. It's all reflective of an abundance mindset that there is enough for all of us to win big.
BSN serves others not only in community, culture, but around the world.
BSN not only helped me book additional paid opportunities, but gave me the accountability and confidence booster I needed to really strive and thrive consistently in my business.
They curate all the engagements and email them to you. So all you have to do is simply click and apply to the one that's applicable for your niche.
I have built my business and have expanded my knowledge, met amazing people, and I have landed several speaking engagements.
I truly thank the entire team behind Black Speakers Network for helping me share my story with the world.
In less than 3 years, I was able to increase my visibility, my credibility, and even my connectivity.
What I experienced with BSN is phenomenal connections. And I've met so many great people that have added value to my life in ways I just wouldn't have expected.
If you want to speak on college stages, BSN has something for you. If you want to speak and sell, I feel like BSN has a cohort for you.
At the end of the day, Black Speakers Network is really there for anyone who is longing to reach the audience that they're called to serve.
Black Speakers Network truly is a place where you can feel like you're home.
If you are on the fence, get off the fence and join the family. You won't regret it.
It is the #1 organization that I recommend that every speaker become a member of if you really want to catapult your success and maximize to its fullest potential your voice.